Hello, guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel, DevOps with Anil. In previous video, I have explained you the Docker file, Docker volume, Docker CLI commands. Those topics are completed, but today's target is Docker network because before going to the Docker Compose, I want you guys to understand basically what is Docker network. So in Docker network, there are mainly three type of network. What are those three types? Let me add it over here. First one, let me increase the size. It's 16. And first one is a bridge, BRIDGE, bridge. Okay. Second one, basically, delete it. Let me copy the same. Host. And then last one is overlay. So what are these means that? Let me tell you with the diagram. When we say bridge, first of all, try to understand that whenever we create any network, by default, if you don't provide any driver, by default, bridge network is going to be created if we don't pass any driver and all. Okay. If we pass host, then we can create host, and overlay as well we can create while passing the host. How to do that while creating a network, I will tell you the command later, but for understand, by default any network is created, it is a bridge network in Docker. Okay, so now come to that, what does mean by the bridge, how it look like. So here let me get a shape, uh, get rectangle. Let me pick the rectangle. Suppose this is our OS, one operating system. OS window, Windows OS. Okay, my Windows operating system running on this machine. So here I am trying to run containers. Okay, so for running a container, I am passing a command. Let me say, okay, okay. So now I am going to run the command for running a container. What is the command is that? Docker run -d -p 80:80 nginx nx. So it will create a container. Let me add the name as well here. --name web. Okay. So this command I am going to execute it in the OS. So what will happen in that, a container is going to create. So let me pick the shape again. Shape, which shape is that? Not rectangular. Cancel. I'm trying first time, so sorry for that delay. Let me pick the eclipse. Think about that. This is just a container web. Container web. Okay, because we are passing the name of web. So what does it mean that application? Let me change here as well. 8080. Okay, so my application running inside the container on the port. Which port it is running? It is running port 80. Okay, and that port is mount in the host port of my operating system. This is operating system. So here my port is host port is basically port 8080. So what bridge will do, whatever the request means, any request from outside the world, let me say this is world, public internet net. Okay, okay, so whenever the request came to the machine, it will come to machine to the port 8080. When we hit okay, so from public internet the request came to port 80 of the machine, host machine. So for this accessing that, what we need to put IP address of host IP, host IP colon 8080. So that request need to be, oh sorry, I didn't, let me, oh, let me delete this and create again. Okay, host IP and port 80. Let me make the color so that it will look like. So this request is now moving basically here. It will not go outside the host. It should be request come inside that. Okay, sorry. Okay, so the port request came to this container, then only we are able to access public internet. So how bridge is working, we need to, when we are running this command and hitting the host IP 8080, because we are passing 8080 here colon 80 it is a container port. So how it will work like this. This is called as a bridge network. Okay, now let me tell you the host network. If you want me to give you the proper definition of a bridge, I can say that a bridge network create a software based bridge between your host and the container. Container connect to the network, can communicate with each other, but they are isolated from outside the network. So what does it means that both host network is a different, container network is a different. It is isolated from each other. That's the reason when we are putting host IP 8080, it is connecting to here, and we need to connect to that. We need this line of hyphen p to enable connectivity between the mapping of the port from the host to container. But when we are using a host, what does it means that it means we can directly use host means when we are creating driver of a host network. What does that means that container machine and host machine both are sharing their network. So when we execute directly connectivity, let me tell you how to we can connect, means when we how we can create a and communicate with the host. So let me directly copy this thing and paste it so that I need not to run it. Create twice. Let me use this. Yeah. So here is the thing. Here we don't have like this, and this is also, let me remove it quickly. Container is running here, and now the command will be here. I'm going to use hyphen network hyphen network host network host. So instead of web, I am going to use host. Anything, any name is fine, but I'm just changing from the previous one so that it can be easy to that. So I'm here is saying h1. Okay, so the container is here h1. Now see the difference. Here I need to specify the port mapping, but here I don't need to specify any port mapping. Why? Because host is already sharing everything with the container. Means when we access from here, oh sorry, I haven't created, I have missed that. When I am saying that it is already when we are passing this, means that if container is running on port 80, then port 80 is already running in the host machine. So we no need to specify that anything special over here. So that is basically going to add it over here. Okay. So what we need to put here, we just need to control C, control V. Oh, host IP and here colon 80. Internally, this connection is already working. Okay, so this connection is already connected. when we passing. So if suppose my container is running not on 80, if it is running on 81, then port is going to consume here 81. And why it is changed like this? 81, just it is a diagram problem. Wait a second. Something weird. Okay. Okay. Yes. Here need to be 81. Okay. Now come to the overlays. Overlays case is different. Overlays network are distributed network. So it is going to be used multiple host. Here I am right now I am using only one host, and inside the container it might be, suppose I have a 10 container here, bridge will be work the same way. Control V, and it can be run twice because uh, it is different, but here I need to use different port for this consumption. So I need to use for below one. Let me minimize it and create another. Control V. So here it's going to be 8081. Anything you can put on left side, it doesn't matter, but whatever you put, it will create a network for you. Again, that port is going to be used. So 8081. But here if we try to create another of control C control V, creating 8081, because container port, inside the container port if we are not changing, but here if you don't change it will not up, because it will say port is already binding to that. If I create another machine, and sorry, so one is h1 here, web instead of web1, web1, otherwise it will not run. Name need to be different. H1, H2. So if we are using, because nginx is by default port is 80, so it is going to be 80. Same goes to here, 80, and same goes to here as well. Here when we try to create another, this H2, it will fail. Why? This will fail it to make it red. This one red. It will fail. Why it will fail? Port with the error of failed with error port uh, port bind issue. So what does it mean? That port is not available. Okay, but in overlay case, if I create uh, host 1. Okay, and running container, let me pick this. I'm not going to use command for that. And then same thing, let me copy again, control C, control V here. Here the name will work because name is still uh, it is a different machine, different engine, it will work, no problem with that. Port is also going to work, but you, if you want to communicate these to basically these two container, so you need to create a overlays network. So creating a overlay network, basically any type of network you can create it, that command. Let me put it over here. uh, Text Docker sorry, Docker network create, then network name, anything network name. I'm just saying uh, overlay lays overlays one, overlays one. It is anything. I'm just giving the name. That's it. It will create the overlays. No, it will not create overlays. It will create till here is bridge network. Now hyphen D for driver, and we need to pass overlay. So it will create a overlay network. Okay. So after creating that, we need to just join this container to this overlay, means over, sorry, spelling is mistake. O V R overlays. Okay, overlays one. We need to join this container. Uh, for now, I am not able to give you the example of this, but in future, when I am going to create a Docker Compose, I will definitely show you exact example of this, how to do that. But I can show for now, I can give you practical examples. So with this thing, so I will share this screenshot in the my channel as well, to description of everything, so that you can check later as well. But for now, let's jump into the practical quickly to create a network and all. So let me use PowerShell. Full screen, clear. So first of all, let us check what are a network already present. Docker network ls. Okay. So see, there are 3 network is already available. Even I haven't created yet. And if I show docker ps hyphen a, nothing is running. So everything is deleted from the container side, but still I cannot delete this as when it is created at the time of our Docker desktop installation. So whenever you install a Docker engine, network is 3 network is by default it is created. Okay. So now if you want to create any new network, what would be the command? The same command I have given you, Docker network create, then any name. Let me put n1. So if I don't put anything, then it will be create a bridge network. Okay. So if I show you ls again, network ls, See, the driver is a bridge network if I didn't pass anything. If I pass anything, then it will be create another type -d overlay. Okay, overlay we cannot create it because right now Docker's it is a work in Docker Swarm to connect between different host machine. Right now, because of that, it is not able to create it, but it will be create like this. And if I try to create host, the problem is that host we cannot create more than one in a system. So we can create host only one host in a machine. So right now the name of the host is host. So we cannot create if I try to create host, it will again fail because oh sorry, n1 is already exist. Let me change n2. So the error is there, error response only one instance of host network is allowed. So host driver instance is only one allowed. Bridge we can create as much as any number of we want. So if I want to create bridge into bridge bridge, it can be created. Docker network ls. Okay, let me quickly run the command and show you directly how work with the connectivity. So docker run -d for daemon mode, detach mode, then -p 8081 colon 80 for nginx. I am going to use nginx and the name will be web hyphen name web nginx. Okay, so if I use docker ps, it is showing my nginx server is running and port binding is this. And if I show you okay, if I show you this inspect docker inspect is a command. Basically you can check each and every detail in the container network volume anything. Suppose I want to check the one which we have created n1 is a bridge network. So if we want to check the other detail like apart from driver what other details are there, so we can check network then inspect and then n1, basically the name of the network. So it will, sorry, it is just a spelling mistake. Yeah, so this is here the driver saying default and the driver is bridge, subnet and gateway. These are things coming. Okay, the same way if you want to check the host inspect network, you can check the host. Okay, scope is local, driver is a host. So the same way we can check also inspect with the container as well. So how to do that? Let me clear the screen and docker ps. We need to inspect that what network is using in the this container. So how we can check it? Docker first. Let me check network ls. Network ls. So what are the network is created? Bridge, host, n1 n2 whatever we have created it. Okay, so let us check the container inspect. Docker inspect then container id or name, anything will find. Either you can pass docker container or docker container, it will work, or if you pass directly inspect it is also work. So here all the details of the container it is showing. It's lot of details but we are not looking anything specific. So here we can see that what are the default path of the files, what are the arguments is passing, state running. So we are rely on the network part. So let's see. Network setting. So here is the network setting. Bridge, it is picking, and port is 80. Host IP, public IP is saying host port is this one. So we can access from the our machine from browser. So let me use that. Localhost 8080. Let me see that what port we have used. 8081, not 8080, 8081. So need to put 8081. So it is running it.